I'm Emma Lacey. I am the SVP for Demand at Onetag, which means I lead the agency and brand relationships across EMEA. So Onetag is a technology business that specializes on supply side enrichment and enablement. And so we have a curation platform, we have an exchange, we have creative, we have different data to drive outcomes. So we've become a specialist in really understanding what brands are trying to accomplish when they're doing programmatic buying, and ultimately how you can create as much value as possible in the food chain. Well, I think the issue and the thing that we need to change is looking at, should programmatic be competing with the walled gardens? I don't think that they serve the same purpose. I think that they both provide different types of solutions and different types of content and different types of user engagement. Walled gardens are excellent at giving you the discoverability of content. You don't know what content you want to look at next. They seem to. And so you scroll through it endlessly, and the brands get a different type of experience by appearing alongside that. And often, it's super relevant, and it's something for me, for example, coming out to Cannes, I think I bought a few dresses that kept being targeted with, and I didn't know I wanted them. So I think there's a real purpose for walled garden and advertising and brand relationships. But in programmatic, we forget the value of trusted publishers, trusted content, journalists who are dedicated to understanding topics and verticals and being specialists. And so you're not risking the same problems around potential AI-generated content or misinformation. And for brands, it's a great opportunity to have a relationship with a really loyal reader and audience, and actually leverage that and drive a different type of conversation with them. And what we've done notoriously badly in programmatic before is actually wasting that moment. We haven't used that moment of engagement by basically producing really poor quality creative. And so that's where we need to evolve to be more competitive, if we want to say that with walled gardens. We need to make sure that the ads look great, they're obviously targeted to the right person, the right time, with the right kind of contextual signals. But that then we use the different engagement metrics that we can kind of measure from these different creatives, and that's your intent signal. That's what drives a relationship long term with a brand and their potential customer, and moves them down that value chain. Well, absolutely, fragmentation has been one of the biggest issues that programmatic was meant to solve, and actually just created more problems. But I think what we need to do is not look at everything in silos. Creative shouldn't just be in one place. Content, audience targeting, data, and then measurement, to actually see if something worked. All of these things have been traditionally very separate. And what supply-side decisioning has enabled over the last couple of years is to have access to, obviously, a lot of audiences at scale via the publisher relationships, ingest data, and actually start to use that to inform how you kind of curate the right inventory before you even start thinking about clicks and conversions. And I think that's where, if we can start to have a more consolidated view, more transparent view also with clients, then ultimately you'll be able to build a much more effective strategy long term. Because if everything's separate, certainly there'll be inflated fees, but also it's just a disconnect between what's kind of the starting point and the end point of what the brand actually wanted to accomplish with the campaign. Well, I imagine every single person has said it's going to be AI. It is already AI. We're using those sort of technologies to allow us to do things at scale to predict better what good looks like. So for Onetag, as an example, we are now very focused not only on the creative with our acquisition of Ariel, and actually creating a really strong relationship between brands and users at the very beginning of the story, but also looking at what is important. A click is not an outcome. It's a signal of intent. And so what we really want to do is be able to use all of that data and inform the right kind of approach to delivering something that actually is valuable to the brand. Sometimes that is a sale, right? So we can allow things like CPAs, CPCs, but ultimately it's about building that long-term relationship with a loyal customer, and also discovering new customers that might look like them. So what we're able to do is look at the probability of success by learning from a DSP, ingesting their data and applying that to the sell side. But what we're doing is we're doing it before the campaign starts, not just at the end of it. And that's why business outcomes is like the Zeitgeist of Cannes this year. Everyone is talking about it. but it is because it's important. We all need to be able to show that what we're doing works, that we're delivering ROI. But that means a clear goal at the very beginning, and then you work kind of with all the partners to actually deliver that at the end. But what's good, what an outcome looks like for one brand is not the same for another, and so that's where you need that flexibility to look at upper funnel, lower funnel, and the beginning of the journey starts with the creative, and the end is actually understanding what did the user think. Did they remember seeing the ad? Did they like it? I think there's a lot that we are doing that's much more improved from where we were even just a couple of years ago, and things like AI enabled that because we can do it at scale. But ultimately, we also need to keep working at it. I think it is still a little bit fragmented, and I think that we need to not hold programmatic to standards that maybe we don't with the walled gardens. And so I think we're at a really nice kind of new era of programmatic, but I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out over the coming months. I think for me, Canada's about relationships. It's, we're in a lovely place, we're having relaxed conversations, but everyone here is trying to, make progress, to discover new things, to, kind of go home. For me, that's back to London with some new clients, new opportunities, new conversations. And so what does good look like? If I can think that I've got 2 or 3 really great conversations started with people I didn't know before, or companies I'm not working with yet, and, we'll go on and have a follow-up meeting very soon, I hope. But, it is all about just making sure that we are doing the right things with all of our kind of partners in the market, and just making sure that, we have some fun as well.